Welcome to February at Empirical's SDA Learning Center. In the last video, I showed you how to build a large substation project file with independent interconnected panel subproject files using a conventional AutoCAD Electrical and Vault workflow. This video is part one of a two-part series where I will demonstrate how that project file setup works in a multi-user AutoCAD Electrical design environment. In this video in particular, I'll demonstrate how two users can work independently in the same substation project file to draw a multi-conductor CT cable between a breaker yard cabinet and a line protection panel. This is the same 3-breaker ring bus project from our last video where I created this panel sub-projects for the North Bus Breaker A5446 and its related equipment. I have a relay for our breaker control panel and a dual 411L line protection panel right there. There will be multiple cables that are going to run between these two panels for tripping, breaker fail, bus potential, and line potential. In this scenario, a lead designer passes the design markups out to two separate users for editing in AutoCAD Electrical. One drafter will be handed the breaker control panel sub-project, whom I'll call user 1, and a separate drafter will be handed the line protection panel sub-project, who I'll call to user 2. As the lead designer in this scenario, I'm going to execute the updates of the main substation project file after the drafting has been completed. So I'll go ahead and activate the breaker control sub-project as user 1. And I'm going to right-click on the active project, select Vault, and go ahead and check out all the drawings in the project file for this breaker sub-project. Once that's done, I'll open up the AC schematic and start at the first cable on the top side Z winding of the breaker. Right-click on the cable bubble and select Edit Component. This is the child side of the cable, but that's not going to matter during the editing. I'll edit the cable tag from the placeholder to a real cable ID, 4601C, and then I'll click Show Edit Miscellaneous. This is where the cable description will be edited to describe this end of the cable. That description will pull from the destination end during the update. The format DREF carries the format for these AC cable descriptions. The DREF carries a default description that's going to be overwritten on update. The ref-only link GUID attribute is necessary to carry the V attribute variable between the cables. And that's a redundancy that can be eliminated later on. After that, I will run the SDS cable sigcode update command to match the destination arrow code to the cable tag. So under SDS schematic, select cable update sig code, selecting the cable bubble first and then all related signal arrows on the cable, and you can verify that at the command line that it was changed. Now we'll surf to the breaker yard cabinet from the schematic terminal. I'll right-click on the schematic terminal and select Surf, and then select the connection diagram terminal indicated by the pound sign and click OK. Once there, I'll close the Surf dialog. So here are the terminal strips for that winding. I'll delete the cable stencil that we use for our engineering design go-bys. If all cables were drawn schematically first, the entire stencil layer can be deleted at once, and the entire drawing annotated at one time, and the cables can be drawn at one time using SDS AutoFan. But first, I'll go ahead and blank out this annotation using the SDS blank single pick. And I'll go ahead and erase those wire leader stubs. Then I'll select Annotate Single Pick, keep the defaults, and select the single terminals to annotate the cable. Next will be to select the WD cable tool to draw out the cable. I'll keep the defaults and click OK Bottom because I'm landing this cable at the bottom of the drawing. Select each annotation individually and just find a good place to make that first pick, and then draw the cable bubble out to be aligned with the other stenciled cables. We'll go to Show Edit Miscellaneous. Just verify that the description under DREF is %D. The %D variable is tied to the drawing properties of this connection diagram. This variable is used in all of my wiring and connection diagrams to automate cable descriptions. Go ahead and blow that default description away. And now if I right-click on the drawing and go to Drawing Properties, there's this sheet number, which is represented by %S, and there is the drawing number that's represented by %D. For a full list of the variables that you can use in the dref command, just reference the SDS help files, and they can tell you which ones you can use to actually pull in automated cable descriptions. At this point, the cross-reference doesn't happen, but user 1 is done with their work, so I'll go ahead and save and close the connection diagram and the AC schematic. And then I'll right-click on the active project, go to the vault flyout, and check everything in. I'll leave an optional comment and click OK. And this breaker panel sub-project is checked in and ready to go once the updates are ready. Meanwhile, user 2 has been working in the line protection panel equipment using the new solar line protection panel sub-project. To illustrate that, I'll make the line protection panel active, go down to the vault flyout, and select Checkout All. With the project checked out through AutoCAD Electrical, I'll begin matching the cable information from the breaker panel AC schematic to this line panel AC schematic using the exact same workflow as user 1. By right-clicking on the cable bubble, I'll select tag and edit that, and just verify that all of my information is correct. All my attributes that I need are present under Show Edit Miscellaneous, and click OK. At this point, I'll repeat the cable signal code match that I did before. I don't need to update anything because there is no other end of this cable to update. So I'll select Cable Update SIG codes, select the cable bubble first, and then the SIG codes, and you can verify in the command line that they're changed. And then I'll surf to the panel connection diagram or wiring diagram, selecting Terminal 1, and go into that terminal strip. Go ahead and delete the stencil. I'll go up and select Annotate Single Pick again, accepting the defaults and just clicking down the line to get the annotation that I need. Once that's completed, I'll go to the SDS Panel WD tab and select the cable tool and go ahead and draw out this cable. It's a very small list of commands that you have to learn. Once that's drawn in, I need to verify that the format dref is the same as the breaker end of the cable. And I know I have to put %D there, that wasn't there. But that's the only variable I need in that field, so I'll go ahead and hit OK. In this scenario, only one cable has been updated, but in reality, schematic work would be complete and both sub-project schematics would be done, and you could do project-wide annotation tools and drawing-wide cable drawing tools with the SDS AutoFan to get all your cables in there. So like before, I'll go ahead and close these drawings and save. Then I'll right-click on the active project, go down to the vault flyout, and then check in all, and hit OK. And so now the edits for user 1 and user 2 are done, so it's time for the project lead to come in and do the updating. So I'll activate the main substation project, and then again go down to the vault flyout and select Checkout All. I'll go ahead and expand these subfolders in the main project and do a quick refresh in the project tree. I'll go ahead and open and start with the AC schematic. Once that's loaded in, I'm first going to type AE rebuild DB to rebuild the Scratch database. And what this is doing is taking all of the information on the drawings that are contained in this project and writing the information to the project Scratch database. After that, I want to just simply do my update now that the Scratch database is updated. So I'll type SDS dref project wide. And what this is going to allow me to do is update my cables and also update any master reference designations that I have. I'll go ahead and select project, and I'm just going to process the drawings that user 1 and user 2 touched in this demonstration. So that'll be the two AC schematics, a connection diagram, and a wiring diagram, and hit OK. And now, as you can see, as the project is paging through, you can see the updates coming into the cables, as well as the drawing cross-references. Using multi-line attributes in AutoCAD Electrical causes a little bit of cleanup work because the software changes the new value to a single line attribute or a single line value in the multi-line attribute. But with just a little bit of work, you can double click on there and go ahead and rearrange the attribute text as you like and click OK. And now I can surf from this cable to the other side of the cable in the line panel to verify the same thing. I'll just double click on that, hit the three dots button, and just index this description like that. Fast and simple. I'd like to see this changed so AutoCAD Electrical can actually accommodate multi-line attributes in the future, but it's a little bit of cleanup for a bigger payoff. So now I'm going to surf to the wiring diagram first just to verify that I have my cable description and my drawing cross-reference correct. And I do there. And then I'll quick surf to the breaker connection diagram just to verify the same. I hope you were able to gain some insight into how you can successfully design using AutoCAD Electrical project files in a multi-user environment. The key thing to remember is that the AutoCAD Electrical Project Scratch database is built with the data written from the drawings in that project. This allows you to make drawing changes outside of the project file that can eventually be written to the main project file at a later time using AE Rebuild DB. Next month's video will be part 2 of this 2-part demonstration, where we'll explore multiple users working through DC schematics to interconnect the trip 1, trip 2, and breaker fail circuit through the same cable. Thanks for stopping in. See you in March with more AutoCAD Electrical content here at the Empirical SDA Learning Center.